This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
Hey, Ola, it's Miles. Thank you guys for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast.
Have you heard our newest podcast? It's called The Greatest Story Never Told.
Download it today on radio.com. Be sure to subscribe. New episodes are uploaded every Tuesday at noon.
Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the Men's Room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the Men's Room.
And away we go. Welcome to Season 16, episode number 3483. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, the Ted Smith, and Mike Hawk. And you are the Men's Room. On tap today, the return of Who Sucks Less. We will play Profile This. Plus headlines, the Men's Room Shout of the Day, fun with listener emails, and everyone's favorite, TV Time with Ted.
Clack, drink until drunk.
All right, here we go. China is doing its best to keep a herd of 15 elephants away from its 7th biggest city. Meanwhile, a Danish journalist has the greatest assignment ever as she goes undercover and someone pets her kitty. Southern California teen gets to tell the tale of the time that she pushed the bear off a wall. Thieves break into a Harley-Davidson dealership, but the door is way, way too small. And a Florida woman donates kidney to new husband's ex-wife. That is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. All right, if you plan on traveling anytime soon, bad news. 2 U.S. airlines plan to ban the sale of alcohol on their flights. Why? Well, in a nutshell, because people suck. After a plethora of, quote, unruly passengers, both Southwest and American Airlines, they've decided that enough is enough. In 1 month, there have been 470 passenger misconduct complaints on Southwest alone. There have been 2,500 incidents just this year. To put it in a little perspective, on average in 6 months, airlines used to report about 120. We're up to 2,500. So thanks to them, none of us can enjoy a cocktail on a flight. Yeah, they ruined it for everyone. But airline passengers, they aren't the only group of idiots ruining things for the rest of us. The NBA, during their playoffs, they're now cracking down on fan behavior. After incidents of fans spitting on players, dumping popcorn on players, and then more recently throwing a water bottle at a player, the NBA says that it will vigorously enforce enhanced fan code of conduct rules. What that means is they're going to suck away the fun. And the name Karen, we all know what Karen is now, but it has suffered a setback. According to a website, newborns named Karen have dropped to their lowest level since 1932, and we all know why. It's because of the self-entitled and privileged women whose name typically is not Karen. In fact, my kids don't believe that Karen is an actual name. This is not a joke. To them, it is just a slur. My wife's best friend is named Karen. We bring it up and they giggle like we're saying a bad word. It's unbelievable. And then let's go back to 2004. 140 million people watched the Super Bowl that year. Janet Jackson's nipple made an appearance for 1/2 of 1 second. And that caused a total of three people total out of 140 million to lodge a complaint to the FCC, and somehow that led to a crackdown on radio. Our lives were turned upside down because of television screw-up, and if you're listening, thanks again for that. But that said, look, we've ruined things for ourselves. I'm not going to lie to you. We got a lot of requests to sit in on our show in studio just to watch what we do, and we would love to. But due to what may or may not have happened on one such occasion, we, the men's room, have been legally barred from doing so because of a little something that we simply refer to as the incident. Don't ask, because we can't tell you. But look, there's always somebody that ruins the fun for everyone else. You know, the person who keeps stealing someone else's lunch out of the work refrigerator, and now some new rule has come down and causes problems every goddamn body. You know the drill, and that's what today's question is, and maybe it's you. Who knows? But today's question is, who ruined the good times for everyone else?
Be a part of the big show. Call 206-421-ROCK. Like the Men's Room on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Men's Room Live. And send those emails to the Men's Room at KISW.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
The shenanigans continue. This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
Oh, the show is and away we go. Welcome to season 16, episode number 3,483. What a large and in charge program we have for you today. Guaranteed future repeat. Once again, the exciting return of Who Sucks Less. Steve, you bring us 3 stories, some news each and every week. It is up to us to determine out of the 3 stories which one sucks the least. They all suck. But how do they look this week?
You know what, man? These people, I think you could just sum them up as morons.
So it's not the worst in the world.
It's not the worst. They're kind of bad, but these people, they're just idiots.
Yeah. We also have for you today the Odyssey world premiere of the brand new Volbeat. A him and a hum and a him and a ho. That's coming up.
Oh, they're done with a him and a hum and a ho and a ho
on the show. So they've
changed direction.
Him and a hum and a him and a ho.
That's their early stuff.
Sure
I'm telling you, much different now.
Do karaoke for Volbeat if they ever open up the karaoke clubs again. On our question today, who ruined the good times for everyone else? And we'll start with an aggressive passenger who seriously assaulted a Southwest airline flight attendant who then lost 2 teeth and sustained facial injuries in another attack. According to the company, assault happened in California after Flight 700, which was going from Sacramento to San Diego.
How long is that?
I mean, what are you in the air for?
Minutes?
Maybe, right? It can't be that.
Can't you keep it together for that short of a flight?
The passenger ignored standard in-flight instructions such as wearing a seatbelt, keeping the tray table in the upright position, and became verbally and physically abusive.
It doesn't apply to me. It applies to everybody else because I'm special.
As you said, the assault was just one of about 470 passenger misconduct incidents that took place aboard Southwest flights from April 8th to May 15th. According to the president of the airline's flight attendants union, this unprecedented number of incidents has reached an intolerable level, with passenger noncompliance events also becoming more aggressive in nature. Today's traveling environment requires a new level of firmness in both tone and direction to ensure proper control of the cabin, blah, 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 blah. What does that result in? This story. 2 airlines in the United States have pledged to ban the sale of alcohol on flights after a member of the cabin crew was repeatedly punched in the face by a passenger. Southwest and American Airlines have both announced that alcoholic drinks will no longer be offered on board in response to a spate of recent incidents involving unruly travelers, including the one that we just talked about from Southwest Airlines when a female passenger ignored crew instructions before hitting a flight attendant several times. Now, we know one thing to be true.
Hold on, just real quick, man. I understand, because part of me, I hate it because I'm a big drinker, and certainly if I'm on a plane, I want to drink. But on the other hand, they're also doing, generally speaking, what I do, like, all right, look, if you're not going to listen, I'm going to ruin it for everyone. But in my mind, it's the Full Metal Jacket thing. everyone else around you will take care of this for me, right? They're going to beat your ass because you're taking away things. But obviously the airline industry can't do that. But it'd be nice if they could. If they said, look, either we stop serving drinks because this dumb bitch here doesn't want to comply to any, and just standard flying stuff, tray table up, seatbelt.
Sure.
Nothing untowardly. These are the standard procedures just for taking off in the plane. So, all right. If you guys want to drink, we need 5 volunteers. You take them to the back of the bathroom and beat the living hell out. I mean, beat that mother effer unconscious, and we will serve drinks because they will learn their lesson on the next flight. We say this all the time. The guys that talk the most smack are the guys that got beat up the least.
I'll also say this. Yeah.
Like work, you get certain guys where they dig at everyone, and you're like, that guy's never had his ass kicked. That's why they have a certain demeanor about them. She needs to get punched in the face and beaten half to death by somebody who says, I just want a beer.
Without question. And not only that, but, you like you blame the last shot that you did at the end of the night. Like, I should have done that shot of Jaeger. That guy.
That is correct.
It's never that last shot. It's everything you did up to that. So when you talk about them stopping service on their flights, you got to remember, the airlines encourage you to get to the airport early. Now, one thing we know for a fact is, you can do a little shopping, walk around once you get through security and everything else. But ultimately, if you're going to get some food, if you're going to get a couple drinks, you're going to do it at the airport bar. Now, the airport bar is the only place I know of that encourages you to drink alcohol based on a promotion of half-price shots or whatever the deal is. You get a bigger beer.
Sure.
It's not that restaurants and bars don't have happy hours where they reduce the price of a couple of drinks.
But it's not
food
all
items.
the time.
But exactly. But at the airport bar, one thing you know is, like, look, you might not be able to get a beer on a plane, but that's not where the debauchery began. That's not the root of it. That is not the core of it. One beer on a plane is not going to do anybody any.
Well, in her case,
it depends on where they are, obviously, but they got there before they got there. If you know what I mean.
The flight hadn't taken off yet. She had not had a drink on that flight, so
she's already causing trouble.
She might not even have been drunk. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that, because keep in mind, she's one example and she's pretty extreme. But they're saying there's been 470 of these. Some have to do with mass, some have to do with booze, some people just suck, whatever it is. But they're like alcohol. My real fear is just this, right? So any place that serves alcohol, the markup on booze, as everyone knows, is remarkable. So you make a lot of money every time. If you sell a beer, you've paid for 20. You paid for the case, right? So knowing if you make this decision, then financially the airlines don't get kind of, quote unquote, that extra cash on a regular flight. But airlines, like most companies, they don't lose their money. They pass the buck on to us. So it's like, are we going to have an additional fee for, and they'll make up some crap, right? There was the baggage thing because they suddenly discovered 10 years ago that people travel with suitcases. This was new to them, or that they used.
Remember, it's because
the gas prices went way up.
And then never went down.
And that's what we said. Because they said, look, once gas prices drop, we'll get rid of the baggage fee. And we call BS then. We know how this goes, man. We've seen the movie. Fine. But I feel like, look, they're going to lose a lot of money just not having booze, right? Because, I mean, you have a flight with 200 passengers, say half of them get a beer, some of us get a few more than that, but you're making a lot of money. And I think once in a month, this is just my guess, when they add up what they're not making, they're not losing money, but what they're not making additionally on that, they're going to find some phantom fee that comes down to all of us. Because this dumb whore couldn't put a seatbelt on and put up a tray table. Like, I don't want you to pay extra money.
If you're already drunk, look,
I've done it.
Right.
I've been there too.
But there's no reason to fight them.
No, never fought them. You just go, oh, man,
I got to do it this week.
That's why I brought the story up, Ted.
Yeah. So taking a red eye is one thing, right? Because it's a red eye. Like, I'll just try to doze off or whatever. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about flying back to the West Coast of like 5.5 hours in the evening, just sitting in a small seat. Like,
the drink helps. The drink even,
kind of cuts
quote unquote, kills time.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm going to spend 15 minutes on this beer. Yeah, it's only 15 minutes, and maybe that is stupid, but it makes a difference. And I'm giving you money. And like anything, they can cut me off if they think I'm getting crazy. But generally speaking, especially I'm with either by myself or my wife, I have to keep it under control. So I'll probably just drink till I pass out. And I got no problem doing that, Hey, man, give me because I would always do they would kind of frown, but they never said anything. But you can't just order like a Jack. You have to get the Jack and Coke. And then they open the Coke, and they put the ice cubes in and all this thing. But when they would come back around for trash, they realized none of the Coke has been consumed, but there are 3 empty Jack bottles.
Yeah.
I got 3 cans of Coke, none of that.
As long as you're keeping it together, and as long as you
right.
okay. I mean,
but that's why they frown. Like, we know you're drunk, but you're not acting drunk. Like, that is correct.
If you get on a flight, if you fly down to Arizona, it's Phoenix. It's a 3-hour flight. Okay.
Yeah.
3 beverages in 3 hours is not unreasonable. I mean, it's a drink.
6.
It's a drink an hour. And they don't come around that often. So even if you were to have 3 drinks on a 3-hour flight, technically, depending on your height, your weight, and what you're drinking, you're still almost legally able to drive by the time that you get to Phoenix. I mean, it's 1 drink an hour, 1 beer an hour.
Yeah, if you had 1 beer an hour, yeah.
You're fine. So, and that's not unreasonable. And that might seem like a lot to a lot of people. But ultimately, over the time frame of the 3 hours, you're okay. And we were talking about this outside earlier, but Richard Reed. I don't know if everybody remembers Richard Reed or not. But
I do. Son of a bitch made it worse.
Yes. December of 2001, he tried to light his shoe on fire in the cabin of a flight. People smelled smoke. And because of that, and he was one of the co-conspirators for 9/11. He was supposed to be, keep in mind, on the 5th flight, right?
Right.
But the 5th flight wasn't about shoes. This was a specific thing about shoes. And not only that, he had a incendiary device that was filled with some type of liquid. And the liquid was what he was injecting or trying to put into his shoes, okay? Because of Richard Reed, you always have to take your shoes off, unless you're pre-screened, and sometimes they've loosened that a little bit when you go through security. So the reason the line backs up a little bit more is because people always they take your shoes off. I mean, if you're between the ages of 12 and 75, you're required to by the FAA. So, with this guy, not only can you not take a water bottle on the plane.
Right, because of the fluids that he brought and everything else.
The size of what you travel with in your travel. That's why if you walk into Bartel, they've got a travel section. Because you just can't take your shampoo bottle with you. You have to have a specialty size thing. All of these things because of one guy. Mm-hmm. One guy who tried to do this. And we're still living with it 20 years later. Yeah, it's the same.
And it just slows up the line, right? I mean, and that's all. It's all just one big complaint, but it's all these little annoyances that everyone goes through. Let's face it, the average person, I don't want you taking your shoes off. See those nasty ass feet, man, holes in your socks and the rest of it. But everyone just wants to get through line because really, you just want to get to the other side, to get to the bars, so you can sit down and grab a drink or something. Although somebody here says, Thrill, half the people on the flight, dude, you must be high. He's guessing maybe 10 people on a flight, say 200 people.
Okay.
It says about 10.
10 what?
People would order a beer or more than one beer on the flight. I find that hard to say. There's 200
Only
people.
10?
He's saying maybe 10. I said about half. Maybe I am overselling it, so that would be 100. Can we agree on maybe 50, 25%?
I don't know. I've been on a lot of flights. I would easily say if there's 200 people, there's more than 10 people having a beer.
That's my thought.
But how many times, how long of a flight do you have to be on before the card comes back twice? As far as the beverage card is concerned. Now,
I feel like that's cross-country.
This is over a 3-hour flight, easily, right? So you're really only getting one shot at a drink anyway.
That's why you order heavy when they come around.
You can get a double if you want or whatever. But for the most part, when the flight attendants are done doing that, this is their time to sit down for a minute, just kind of chill out, you know what I mean? And they don't come back a lot. They might offer you like an additional snack, but they're not bringing the drink cart back. You could always ask for one.
Right, they'll come through with some water and some snacks.
Snacks. Yeah, you know what the right thing is. So the fact of the matter is, you can't get a drink anymore. And one of the things about Southwest is...
I think you should stop talking about it because it's really pissing me off.
Apparently, even Alaska, someone here says, I took a flight 2 weeks ago for Alaska, and they had it posted everywhere that no food or drink will be served. Sure as S, we get in the air, and here come the damn drinks. I bought S from the vendors instead. A-holes.
Well, wait a minute. So you're saying that Alaska is not serving alcohol as well?
At least on that flight. I don't know.
It also depends on the length of the flight.
It's also weird because during the pandemic... They weren't serving booze.
Right. I
don't even think they were serving food. You might have got like a water.
Yeah, I think everyone pulled back on that.
Right, it just came back to service, and now it's gone again.
That's what I mean. We just been through a year with that.
A lot of airlines like Delta, there's a space between your seat, depending on the flight, depending on the volume, and everything else. It's not like the airplane is full at capacity like it used to be.
It will be, though.
It will
count on that.
But all this stuff is happening right now, and it's not that people aren't traveling and getting back into the swing of things, but
we want booze.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, and look.
You took away our free peanuts because everyone had a peanut allergy all of a sudden. Now you're taking away our booze. You got that crappy cheese plate, man. It's okay. It might be the best thing on your menu, but it's not good. It's one of those things.
I love that cheese plate.
Do you love it or is it not bad? Saying that to a lot of people go, hey, man, this isn't that bad. And I'm like, there's a difference between not bad and just good.
I love it only because it has features on it, if I'm correct.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what makes it stand out from other cheese plates that you might buy at like other places that offer cheese plates.
But you can still get a cheese plate. You just can't get a beer. Can't get a glass of wine. What if you're in first class?
Oh, I've had first class.
They're getting hooked up.
Because I flew last August during the pandemic. First of all, the first class ticket was $300 cheaper than the year before when I flew coach. So I was like, oh, I'm going first class. And I didn't feel bad. I was enjoying my IPA.
Look, first class is just different, man. The first time I ever flew first class, it was like whatever happened, but a seat became available. I was already on the plane. Who wants to move up? I'm like, hell yeah, I do. And I didn't realize the drinks were free up there. And once I found that out, there were a couple of things. The first thing, I'm like, well, if drinks are free, let's get this party going. But the flight was delayed. They had some kind of mechanical issue with the door. And apparently it is FAA regs that until that door is closed, right between the plane and the skyway or whatever, they can't serve alcohol. So the flight attendant was explaining, well, technically it's illegal to do that. I was like, listen, man, doing illegal stuff, I'm all about it. I don't care. And there's like this 90-year-old woman next to me, and she goes, I like you. Flight attendants like, the hell with it. Started serving drinks, which is cool for everyone in first class. Old bra was drinking tomato juice and vodka.
Get it.
Bloody Mary, yeah.
She started throwing down with me. This is not a lie. That flight attendant served me 17 Jack Daniels.
Whoa.
I passed out. That is for sure. My wife looked angry when the plane landed.
Yeah, because she was in coach.
That's right. She wasn't feeling good. I'm like, well, you stay back there.
Well, I would also say this. Like, if every plane you got on had an entertainment device or TVs in the back of the screen, it'd be all right. But, like, I have an old laptop, right? So, like, that thing's going to die halfway through a cross-country flight. And I'm just staring at this back of a seat. Give me a damn beer.
And you start looking at the back of the head of the person in front of you.
Right, then you read like 5 times where the airline wants you to travel and go to this place or that place. And it's like, I know damn well that restaurant just paid to have that in there because I live in Seattle and nobody goes there.
And even if I want to do the crossword puzzle, it's already been done.
The flight from Japan where the woman wouldn't get off the plane, but she got here.
Right.
She raised a stink. She was completely sober. But she just absolutely lost her mind based on something because her charger didn't work.
The phone charger didn't work, yeah.
Some people just are a pain in the butt and just suck.
Yeah, and they ruin it for everybody. And that's why we're asking,
Not
who
salty.
ruined the good time for everyone else? 206-421-ROCK.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
99.9 KISW. The men's room is in progress.
My question, who ruined the good times for everyone else? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Amanda. Welcome to the men's room. Hello, Amanda.
Hola?
That's not a good sound.
No, it's not.
No.
I don't know if that's Amanda or us.
Hope she's okay.
Let's check with Jess. Hello, Jess. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
All right, so you guys know the Pacific Science Center and the IMAX Theater and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Sure.
All right, so sorry, taking you guys off speakerphone there, so I'm not yelling and stuff. So basically, Pirates of the Caribbean 4 had just come out, and my ex-husband and I wanted to go see it on the big screen in 3D, and ooh, super cool, right? Well, my dad was in town, and we wanted to be like pirates. And mind you, we're all like legal drinking age and everything. So we brought some Sailor Jerry spiced rum into the theater. We had like flasks. And my dad got completely tanked. Before even the opening trailers, we hadn't even started watching the movie. And my dad is just like completely it was a bad situation from the get-go. Well, he wanted to go outside and smoke a cigarette. And he didn't remember to bring his his ticket stub to get back into the IMAX. And unbeknownst to my ex-husband and myself, and well, we also had a friend with us as well. Well, they went out to go smoke, and then we ended up watching the whole entire movie. It was fine. But what happened was my dad went out to go smoke, tried to come back into the theater, didn't have his ticket stub for reentry, and tried to challenge the security guy who probably has, like, I don't know, like a taser maybe. I'm not sure. And so my dad was just like, F this, and went to go cross the street, and a Seattle police officer told him that he couldn't cross there. And my dad got more irritated, and he ended up just running through this crosswalk in front of a car when it was clearly not his right of way. And the car kept going, and my dad broke both of his arms. And so my ex-husband and I get out of the theater, and our friend had the keys. He was our DD, and we're just like, okay, well, here's the car, but where's my dad? Where's our friend? Type of thing. And so thankfully, we ended up getting a hold of our friend that was with us, and he told us that my dad was at Harborview because the car. And I'm sorry for laughing. This is horrible. I mean, my dad's fine. Like, he totally
two broken arms. Yeah,
Sure.
whatever. Yeah, no big deal. Yeah, it's always pain in the ass when you got to babysit your parents. I don't know if you've ever been in that situation before. But
No.
That was the first and hopefully last.
I definitely have been there. Yeah. I've definitely
Yeah,
had fun.
that
Look,
was-
I think family members oftentimes are the ones that ruin more things than a lot of people give them credit for. There's
a
a
lot of
lot of
times-
random strangers out there, but I mean, you keep it close, those people can really, really ruin a good time as well.
That's why people stress
Specifically.
out about the holidays, right? Typically, Thanksgiving and Christmas, all right? So it seems like Thanksgiving more than Christmas, but whatever the case, it's rarely are people stressed out about, there's a little bit, well, I got to get gifts for the kids, right? We're all in that boat, but it's, oh, man. It's Thanksgiving, Uncle So-and-so is coming over. And it's not because you have a problem with them, but some other member of your family has a problem with them. And for whatever reason, even though they see each other once a year, their argument picks up where it left off. It's not about, like, they just choose to be mad. And it ruins it for everyone. Like I said, I can't say one uncle. I believe that one uncle is considerably dumber than the other uncle, but they're both equally as petty. And when they get together, it just ruins it for everyone.
Yeah.
And this has been going on pretty much as long as I've been alive. And the only time they squash their beef is if my father's around, because they're terrified of him.
Yeah.
Seriously, because he does not play that S at all. If you are full of drama, with the exception of my mother, my father does not tolerate it.
Right. I've got 4 friends I went to high school with. For whatever reason, we can't text each other individually. When they text, we all have to be in the same text chain.
Right.
So which means that I'll look down and like 67 messages I missed. Oh, my God. So about 2 or 3 years ago, those guys wanted to get together, meet up, and kind of see each other and just kind of hang out for a weekend. And, we hadn't done it in years. We hadn't seen each other since, we were teens, all together. So we decided we're going to meet up in Chicago. Now, my one buddy, when I get to the airport, he's already been at the bar for about an hour. Now, this is the bar at the airport. His plane has already landed. He's waiting for us. We've agreed we're going to just get a taxi all together and go to our hotel room. Well, at this point in time, when I walk in, he stands up, he gives me a big hug, and then Pat falls back in his bar stool. Now, when he falls back into his bar stool, there is another bar table behind him.
Oh, no.
With a 4-top there, with 2 ladies, like 3 ladies.
And you've just gotten there.
I just walked in. He just gave me a hug. He falls all the way back. He smacks into this woman's leg with the back of his chair, knocks her over off of her bar stool. The table goes flying. They had a table of drinks. Okay? The table that Pat was sitting at was completely fine. All right? He didn't knock that over. He just fell straight back into them. Sorry, the whole thing. They come over, they clean everything up. I'm looking at him like, because I was not aware. Again, I just gave him a hug.
Right.
That's all I know so far, right? Okay. This is the beginning of the evening. Oh, God, let's get out of here. Wait for our other 2 buddies to get there. I'm like, and I can tell, okay, he's pretty inebriated. We check into our hotel room in Chicago. It is 6 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that. First thing we're going to do, we're going to go downtown. We're going to get this idiot some food. We're going to bring him back to life a little bit. We just got there. Right? So I'm splitting a room with one buddy, and Pat and another friend of mine are in another room. Takes him forever to come back down. I don't know what the hell he's doing up there. Either way, we start walking because we're in a central area in Chicago. We can walk to a little bar area, and we're perfectly fine. We start walking down the street. We cross the street. What's the first thing Pat does when the light turns red? We're walking through the pedestrian thing. He bangs on the hood of a Mercedes-Benz that has black tinted windows in the damn thing. All right? Two guys pop out of the back seats of the car and stand up. And I'm like, and I grab Pat by the collar and I go, he's drunk. I got this.
Right.
You know what I mean? Sorry, man. Sorry. And they're like, man,
Yep.
and I'm you're going to die, right? You're going to die in the city. I'm thinking to myself, we are going to die in the city because of this dumbass.
Right.
So we go, try to straighten him
How
up.
long have you been in Chicago?
I have literally been,
half?
2 hours, maybe. Not long at all, right? So then we go to the bar and we sit down and he starts walking around talking to everybody.
Oh.
Every single person. If there are two women sitting together with two guys, he goes up and puts his arms around the two women and starts talking to the entire table.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. All right. Like,
wait, was he like this in high school? Was he that, not necessarily drunk, but was he the guy that got into trouble or he's gregarious?
But, you just kind of think that, maybe after
We're
20, 30 years of seeing someone, that maybe things have calmed down a little bit. Okay, so the next thing I'm like, okay, we basically, they kicked us out of there because of him.
Sure.
So there is an Italian beefsteak place. It's pretty famous. It's a chain. We go there and
it's great.
Yeah, we order some Italian beefsteak. Like, we just got to get food in him. You know what I mean? This is the first order of business, right? Pat goes to the bathroom and he's talking to other people and whatever. And he's just doing his thing. Goes into the bathroom. He doesn't come out. It's been 5-10 minutes. I'm like, man, someone needs to go check on Pat. So I stand up. And as soon as I stand up to go to the bathroom, he's walking towards me. His face is bloody. His mouth is bleeding. It looks like he smashed the side of his head. I'm like, oh, my God. Pat got into a fight in the bathroom. Jesus Christ. So I walk into the bathroom like, oh, God, we got to clean your ass up. Turn around. You know what I mean? So go back in there. We go in there. There's nobody in the bathroom. So I'm like, okay, what the hell happened? So I open a stall door, and it looks like a murder happened. I don't know if he took a header into the toilet or whatever the deal was, right? So then, but I know he's taking a header. So I'm like, okay, guys, and he doesn't want to go back to the hotel room.
Of course not.
And I'm like, look,
he's having a great time.
I'm going to take
I was going to say, did you start by just being like, why don't you just stay here and we'll come back and get you later?
Yes. Oh, yeah, take a nap. Oh, trust me. There was no. So I'm like, we are going back. And keep in mind, he still hasn't eaten. We still haven't got our food. This is a place we order, and then they call out a number, and you go up and get your food, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but I got to get him out of here now because he's bleeding profusely, and I got to figure out if I can close this wound or not, right? Again, I've been in town for about 2.5 hours now. So then we get into a cab, and we go back to the hotel, and I'm looking at him, and I can tell how woozy it is, and I'm like, hey, he either knocked himself out, you know what I mean, momentarily, or whatever the deal is. So we walk into the lobby, get into the elevator. He throws up all over the elevator. Get him up to the hotel room. He doesn't have his key on him. He did not bring his key. My other buddy brought the key. So what do? I use my key, and I put him in my room because it's the room I can get into. I put him in my room. What's he do? He throws up all over the bathroom immediately. Now, this is my room. He's not staying in my room. Right. He just didn't have his key with him. And, he threw up everywhere. So, there were no towels to use. I used every single towel to clean up that bathroom. You know what I mean? And then what do I do with the towels? So I take a toilet paper, the garbage can thing, bag, tie everything up, figuring I'm going to try to find a laundry chute. I find a laundry room. I set it outside in the hallway by there. We don't have any towels left. Pat's laying in and I'm thinking to myself, is he going to live? You know what I mean? Because he's still screwed up. I cannot figure out. Then I looked at his wound. I'm like, this is not too bad. But he is obviously concussed. And now he's kind of sitting up, slumped over, passed out in my bathroom. And I'm just thinking to myself, can I leave him here? So then I wait another 45 minutes. Of course, by the time I go back, he passed out in the bed. I got him into the bed. I was like, all right, whatever. Go back to meet those guys at the Italian steak place. Of course, they've already eaten my food because they've been waiting there. And they serve beer, thank God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They do, but the food comes out really quick.
It does. And it was that quick. So, this is night number 1.
Right.
Number 1. I still haven't got a shot yet. I haven't had a beer outside of the airport bar. You know what I mean? It was right out of the gate. In the meantime, this is a full 3-day weekend with these yahoos. You know what I'm saying? And the other two guys are great. They're fine. It was just, I mean, I was like, dude, we've got to figure out a way to control him. So I get up in the morning and finally I stayed in the other room.
By the way,
he was passed out in my bed.
If you've ever traveled with Miles, and I mean this with all respect, the fact that you are taking on this role, and it's not that Miles gets like that. It's not that I quite get like that, but if we go out of town together, we just get sloppy drunk. And we have Mike to like hold my shoulders while wandering to the street. But we're not picking fights, I don't think.
No, you're good.
Yeah, okay. We don't end up bloody, as far as I know. No. I always seem to make it to my... And I'm just saying, like, we are all about the debauchery. So the fact that you have a friend where you're like, hey, man, I'm telling you to dial it down. That means it's outrageous.
And look, man, you know me. I'm so OCD. I go into that hotel room, and the first thing I do when I get in there on my own, before any of this is happening, is I take my toiletries out, I put them in the bathroom, I get everything ready, I got a couple nice shirts, I hang those up, blah, 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 blah. Well, now I got to pack everything back up because I'm not staying in that room anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? I go to the room that has the towels. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're switching roommates. You know, my buddy Brian's like, why are you doing this to me? He's like, well, because I have been dealing with this crap all frickin' night. So I figure I'm going to get up in the morning about 7:30, get breakfast, start it off with like, Bloody Mary. I've had enough. I'm not going out that night. So I just decided I'm not going out. I just got some food. Hell with it, right? Get up in the morning, go downstairs at 7:30, go to the lobby bar. He's already in there drinking.
Damn.
He's in there before me because he's one of those guys that gets up at 5:30.
Right.
You know, it's his job. So, I mean, and nothing happened. And then he's like, hey, man, what happened last night? I woke up, my face is all swollen up. I sent a picture to my wife. I was like, you sent a picture to your wife with your head swollen up? He's like, yeah, man. He's like, how did this happen? And I was like, I'm pretty sure you took a header in the bathroom. He's like, whoa. But did not care. And then now 1 o'clock comes around and once again, we're in this predicament. And I'm just like, I threw my hands up and I'm like, I am not taking care of this idiot tonight. This is just not going to happen. But basically ruined the first 24 to 36 hours of my weekend away with friends, just trying to babysit this jackalope.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, come on, dude.
Or just take the nap. I've shown up on trips from the West Coast and been the late person.
Yeah.
So I met a couple people. One was my brother, one was a buddy, Will, in Dallas. But they had been there for hours. And they had been at a Nationals game the night before. So basically, they're both working on 1 hour sleep. They're having drinks or whatever. By the time I walk into the hotel bar, same thing. It is obvious that they have been there for a while.
Oh, yeah.
I had literally had a beer with them, and they were like, all right, we got to go take naps.
I'll tell you what happened the next day.
At least they volunteered to do it.
That's what I'm saying. And then they went and took naps, and we had a great weekend.
Okay, so Saturday, the next day, all right, this is Friday where we started this crap. Saturday, we go down to Wrigleyville, which I had never really been to before. I've never been to Wrigley. We go down there, and my expectations were this. I didn't really look at anything, but if the Cubs are in town or whatever, why don't we see if we can get tickets?
Sure.
Go see a baseball game Saturday afternoon. Why the hell not, right? Well, we get down to Wrigleyville and realize there's no Cubs all weekend long. They're out of town, but there are 2 to 3 nights of Billy Joel who's going to play at Wrigley that weekend. All right. You can't get a ticket to that thing. That thing's completely sold out, whatever. But we still go to Wrigleyville, and we go to this big Budweiser bar, all right? We walk in, and we sit at the bar, and the first thing Pat says to the waitress, who was somewhat very attractive woman, he said, I'll give you $20 if you show me your tees.
Oh, Jesus Christ,
man. We got kicked out of there within 30 seconds of sitting down. I mean, it was just like straight on Ohio, man. Like, just absolutely just, I mean, I was
what
like...
does he do for a living?
He is a safety manager.
Sounds like it.
He is responsible for theft and things like that for a major courier company.
Okay.
So if there is any type of, like the 2 guys that stole the bars out of the airport, the gold bars.
Yeah.
He does the same thing for 18-wheelers.
Okay, all right.
So basically he's safety, security, all those things. But, I mean, he's an HR nightmare. I can't even, and he's a manager. Like, I can't even imagine, you know what I mean? Like, how he has kept a job this long with
Would
that
you
company.
agree that most managers, at least, and not all of them, but most managers, certainly in radio, maybe it applies to other people's jobs as well, as far as HR goes, if you were to complain about people the most, it'd probably be the manager.
And guess what?
Right?
This woman turned around at the bar.
And like HR, there's HRs in a lot of buildings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How well they work and how often people, you know what I mean? So it's like, right, like, of course he's a manager. He ranks higher than the HR person, so he's not going to listen to
this
him.
woman turns around immediately and disappears. And I didn't hear all of it, okay? She comes back and relays The dude who's the bouncer there is King Kong. Right. Just so you know, at Wrigleyville, if you go to the Budweiser bar, bouncers are not small. They are large individuals because they got to deal with a lot of idiots. The guy.
So people in Wrigleyville are so nice.
I know. God. And she was nice. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I am apologizing profusely. I leave her $60. $60.
Did you show her boobs?
No, I love it. $60 tip on a 0 tab. Just so that's how bad I felt about the situation. We didn't have a beer. We didn't get service. We got kicked out. I said, I'm so sorry for my friend. He's drunk. He's an idiot. Please, we're sorry. Here's $60. Now, that bar was packed full of some of the most attractive-looking women I've seen in my life. And I'm sitting there, and I'm just thinking to myself, how did we get kicked out of this place?
Because of that guy.
Right. I'm even willing to drink Budweiser. I mean, because the people here are so attractive. You know what I mean? It's like... And then after that, I was just like, oh, my God, this has got to end. So now, in the meantime...
What time of day was the Billy Joel incident?
The Billy Joel incident was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, keep in mind, people are down there partying, just getting ready to go.
Sure, I'm just like, man, that's pretty early.
Yeah, they were open. I mean, like, the show was probably 7 o'clock or something like that. People were just down there doing their thing.
Yeah, it's Wrigley.
But it was packed. I mean, there was all kinds of bars we could pop into and everything else. And then, I mean, it's just constant babysitting mode. And that was the only mode that I was in for the rest of the entire time. Now, in the meantime, since this happened, who wants to go to a different city and tear it up and do it all over again? Who's the guy with the initiative? Who really wants to go and have fun like he did last time? Pat. So he'll send these text messages. I'm looking, I'm like, hell no.
I said, will you do it again?
Hell no. I mean, hell no. He's maybe we'll go to Austin. Maybe we'll go here. Why don't we go to Nashville? I'm just thinking to myself, this is where I will die. I will die in Nashville, you know what I mean, down on Music Row at some kind of honky-tonk bar with that jackass saying something. And I mean,
I was going to say Nashville and Austin, and my experience
dangerous.
Is they're not going to play that.
Chicago should have been a safer alternative of
no, I agree.
A good weekend, right? You know what I mean? But it was just like, now they're talking like, let's go to Vegas. Let's go to Austin.
Well, and some people, too, whether they're friends or family, like maybe it's just when the four of you get back into that role, he just feels like he can go absolutely... ape-ass,
yeah,
because they feel security. Like I have family members that I'm like, no, you can't come and visit, and they're like, why? I'm like, because I just babysit all weekend.
Right,
it is pointless.
Right,
and it sucks.
Yeah, driving people around, taking care of drunk people. Like, look, I'm drunk most of the time, but I don't need a babysitter.
Right, just keep it together a bit.
You know what I mean? Just keep your crap together. God.
Getting thrown out of bars as an adult is terrible.
And again, this is coming from Miles Montgomery. We go to Vegas. My man gets up at 8 o'clock in the morning and sends out a group text, says, meet me at the Center Bar. And when you get there, he's 3 tequila shots deep and has a beer and has a Bloody Mary and buys you a tequila shot. And that's how we start our day. So the fact that you, again, are saying, like, hey, man, slow down.
We basically almost got, we were kindly asked to leave the airport. You know what I mean? Then we almost got shot at an intersection because idiot bangs on the car. Then we almost got kicked out. Then we got kicked out of another bar. And then he takes a header into a restaurant, into the bathroom. Then I take him back and he throws up. Then the next day he asks a girl to show him his teeth for $20. We get kicked out of there. I'm like, this has got to end. This has got to end. It's supposed to be a good time. God, I'm glad that I got that off my chest.
You can tell.
You needed that, man. I'm dead serious, man. Who ruined the good times for everyone else? 206-421-ROCK.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.